What's up, YouTubers? All right, happy Halloween. All right, I had to take that shit off because it's really hot. All right. Anyways, folks, welcome to the channel. This video is gonna be about make more money in trucking or make how to make money in trucking. We're gonna be talking about the load board. All right. It has come to my attention that I possibly have some viewers on here that never seen the load board or don't have access to it or never seen it, don't have access to it, and want to know how it looks and how to book loads, vice versa. All right. So let's do a quick shout out to ADCO, ADCO. What's going on? First one in the house. So if you're new to the channel, and you like this content, don't forget. All right, don't forget. Mash it up, all right? Mash it up. Mash the like button. And drop a comment down below to let us know what you think of the video. And we're gonna give this a go, all right? So I have my tablet here. Now you're gonna find out that there are a lot of companies that specialize doing the load board. Now the one load board that I like to use is Internet Truck Stop, right? So typically you're gonna find you're gonna wind up try them all out, right? I feel like each one has its own like specialty, and I find that Internet Truck Stop helps me more better doing flatbed, step deck loads. I find that there's more flatbed loads on Internet Truck Stop instead of like DAT, right? DAT, I find they have a lot more freight for a dry van. I'm not sure about the reefer side, but I think they do. And that's just based off of like users and whatnot. So whichever one you wind up choosing in the future, I would say just give them all a try. They got 123 low board as well, but like I said, I find to have Internet Truck Stop to be it works out best for me. Okay, now most of the time the low boards aren't going to be for free, and if they're going to be for free, the only thing that's going to be posted on the load board on the free stuff is going to be whack. Like the loads are going to be not going to be paying good at all, right? So you could pick up a subscription for like $24 or something like that, or 30 bucks, and they're all about the same price. Now they're going to want to push this gold standard type deal on you when you first get the load board. And what that's going to do is going to pretty much show the average lane rates, what this lanes have been paying for the past 30 days, 60 days. They all have their different like metrics. So I suggest getting into that, when you first start off booking loads by yourself. You're really not going to know what to I'm going to put this hat on for Henny because I know he likes this. The Cleveland's Indians, all right? So I suggest doing it. I suggest paying for the extra service. It's going to be about 100 bucks a month or 120, something like that. I can't remember exactly, but each different app has their each different company has, their price, and they're relatively about the same price. I suggest getting that, especially when you first start off, because it's going to tell you what this lane has been paying for the past 30 to 60 days, and you're not going to know that when you first start booking loads, so you might you very well likely are going to be underbidding yourself and like kind of like potentially booking cheap freight because you didn't know what this has been paying for the past so long. All right, so just give you an example, right? Let's just say we have a load that's going from New York City to Cleveland, okay? And it is posted, right? It is posted for, I don't know, let's just say, let's put in a number, $1,000, right? And it's posted today for $1,000, and you load, your first time booking some load, and you're in New York City, you're like, okay, I'm gonna book this load. It seems like the rate per mile is, it's $3 a mile, and you can say, okay, $3 a mile, that looks good. And then you get to Ohio, and then the story is that there's no freight in Ohio. But then when you wind up finding out that you should have had gotten a lot more money going in to Ohio, and this is hypothetical, okay? This is just hypothetical. You should have gotten a lot more money going into Ohio. You could have known that if you had the average, right? The 60 to 30-day average, because you would have seen that people are booking those loads for a lot more higher than what you booked them for. Now, the market has its up and downs. Okay, so just because the 30-day average is there, or 60-day average, doesn't mean that's what you're actually gonna get. And sometimes the market might be a lot better, and you want to get above that market average, But that is just something to take a look into. So right now we're gonna look at the internet truck stop. We're gonna look at some loads. One thing to know about looking at the load board is a lot of the loads that get posted, for one, even though it says there's 500 loads that you're seeing, in reality, there actually isn't 500 loads, because a lot of loads get posted multiple times, maybe 3 times, 4 times, and sometimes it gets posted by different brokers. And in reality, 500 loads, but there's really only like maybe 100 loads or 200 loads. So always want to take the load count as a just like a grain of salt, okay? Because it's not the reality thing, okay? But it does help, because you're gonna be able to see that in one market. All right, we got this opened up, right? You can see here, this is how the load board looks like, okay? Sorry for the reflection, but this is how it looks like. Right now what we're gonna type in is, let's type in let's see what's coming out of Cleveland, okay? And what we have here, and we'll do Cleveland for tomorrow. Now, one thing you need to know as well on the load board is that the time that loads get posted, okay? Typically, brokers and companies are not going to be posting loads in the middle of the night. They're typically only going to be posting loads first thing in the morning at 7, 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And they're going to be posting those loads for the day, or for the next day, or for next week, But um, typically those loads are only going to be the one for today and for tomorrow, okay? So right now, it's 4:55 Eastern time. The loads are going to go down. So right now, if we look into Cleveland, we're not going to find many loads for today, because most of the shippers already closed, and most of the loads already got covered for today. And even if a load is still left up on there, you're not going to be able to get a hold of anybody to book that load 9 times out of 10, unless it's a late shipper, or there's just a broker that always has his phone on him, okay? So right here, you can see, you can type in the address right here, or the zip code. I'm gonna put Cleveland, and you can put where you want to go to, okay? Let's see if we get this thing to focus. All right, and you can put the pickup date, and you can put the equipment type, flatbed, dry van, whatever. There's a list of stuff in here, and you'll find your stuff on here, okay? So we're gonna go ahead, pickup date, and we're gonna go on the 31st. Now, we got some comments in here. Let's read this. ADCO, I wonder why the load count was different. Right. It's just the way it is. Like sometimes, like, let's just say you're gonna be picking up some insulation from Owens Corning, and Owens Corning is shipping out some insulation. and they're shipping it out from Cleveland to Columbus. Well, that lane could get posted as many times as how many different brokers have their hands on it, right? Which is, we're going to talk about the different tactics of like what brokers do in order to get more money from you, okay? It does happen all the time, okay? So anyways, let's see, 1031, right? Flatbed equipment, and you can adjust the deadhead, how far you're willing to deadhead out. And we're just gonna leave this the part where we want to go to empty. Okay, we want to go anywhere. Let's see. So you hit here, you click search, and it'll start searching up. Okay, now you can see the load count up there is 161. Okay, and just for example, right, just to explain how that, if you're looking right now and you're looking kind of outside of the business day, the load count is going to be a lot more lower than it is going to be for the next day that the day is already done. Okay, so we're going to look, remember we got 167, right? And we're going to go ahead and search for tomorrow. All right, and we're going to search, and there you go. 10 out of 357. So right there just goes to show you that obviously booking, there's a certain time in booking your freight which is the most best and almost impossible, you know, because if you try to booking a load right now, it's not going to be very possible, even though you see it. Now that doesn't mean two things. If you see a load on here and it's at the end of the day, that does not mean that that load is still available, folks. All right, there's a little tool on here on the apps which will show you when that load was posted and how long ago. So 9 times out of 10, if the load was posted 9 hours ago and it's at the end of the day, that load is probably gone. Well, why is that? These brokers don't be taking the freaking load off the load board, and and that's just what happens, folks. All right, so we got CMLO and freight prices are trash. That's why I parked my truck. I'm driving dump trucks until the freight goes up. Yo, freight is down this week. Charles Brandt, you said the rates are up this week. I don't know, man. For flatbed, I feel like they plummeted this week. And that's, I felt like they plummeted for sure. All right. So, and the load count as well. So when you look at the load board, right, you have right there, you see the little watch thing right there? That right there shows that it was literally just posted. So somebody's at their house right now posting up loads. But let's look at yesterday, right? So that we can show you that loads get left up on the load board and they're still not available. So let's see here. Done. Search. Okay. All right, so there we go. Let me see if I got a search, right? They got this thing. You can sort by age, by pay, and everything, right? So right now we're gonna search it by age, which is right here. And then boom, you can see right there we got a lane from Titusville, PA to Mifflintown, Pennsylvania. It was posted 9 hours ago. That load is not available, more than likely, folks. Okay, so you know, this is something that, you know, you're gonna have to I guess pick up on these little hints or whatnot. I find it's hard, like it's hard to say, but like, what is the best time to book a load? The best time to book a load, there's different ways to book loads, right? You can be booking loads strategically and consistently, but a little bit less pay possibly by booking the load a day in advance, 2 days in advance. What I mean by that is that strategically you don't want to mess around and not have a load because you have somewhere to go to, or you want to make sure you do get a load, right? because it's very possible that sometimes you go into a area and you think that you're going to get a load, and you get there and then there's no loads. So booking that freight a day in advance or 2 days in advance is going to definitely be a lot more help. And sometimes, you know, you'll be able to get a better rate sometimes than booking the load the day of or hours of. Now, one of the other strategies is booking loads at a certain time of the day, the same day, booking the load. So that means that you literally got empty and you're getting on the load board and say, hey, I am empty. Give me a load. One of the best things you could do is by getting more money is by doing that, saying I am empty right now and I am literally sitting like 1 hour away from this place, or I'm sitting right here in the same city. Using that to your advantage, you will be getting a lot more money a lot of times, because typically those carriers or those drivers that book the load a day in advance or 2 days in advance, they didn't make their schedule, and so they couldn't make the pickup, and because of that they're falling off of a load, and now the broker is trying to recover that load, right? So you're going to hear words such as, like, recover, I got to recover this load, or I'm just trying to recover this load, or I had a carrier fall off of it. What that means is that somebody already had booked it in advance and things didn't work out for that person. And because of that, they're trying to cover it up because they already told their customer, hey, I got a truck coming in to pick that up. And now they're calling the customer, hey, that truck's not going to be able to pick it up, but hey, the freight still needs to move. So a lot of times booking a load, and there's a certain time, right, to be booking loads the day of. One of the best times to do it is like literally right around 12, 1 o'clock, right around there, 11:30, 11 o'clock, because if you start calling around 8 o'clock, um, now, everybody has, their time constraints or whatnot, but if you can, try to wait till 11 o'clock, 11:30 before you start calling the load. And all that's just going to do is put a little bit more pressure on that broker, because they still haven't moved that freight that needs to leave today. So they're going to start getting antsy. And, this is all about being a salesman, and being a solution to the problem, right? So, for example, the load that they had booked, somebody had falled off that load for about $500. Just say the load paid $500, and somebody booked it 2 days in advance, and boom, the day of, broker finds out this guy falls off of it. Now they're only offering $500, and you're looking at that, well, hey, I could do it for 600, and the broker's like sitting there like, okay, well, I don't want to lose my customer, right? Let me pay him some more money. And sometimes brokers will say, hey, that's all I got in it. But in reality, no matter how much money that this low board says, never, 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 never. Yeah, listen to me. Never, okay? Never just take the rate, all right? You will always, 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 always ask for more money, period. And you better find a way to justify it, because you can, okay? Just because this load is posted here for this much doesn't mean that that's the only bit you're gonna get, okay? So always try to ask for money, right? And ask for more money to do it. Always ask the details of the load, shipping hours, receiving hours, what is the commodity, all that. And that's also going to help you, showing the broker that you care for the load per se, and that you're going to do a good job, because any Joe can just pick up the phone and say, hey, what's how much you guys are paying on this land? Okay, give it to me. But you have no idea what you just signed yourself up to, okay? So once you've been trucking for a while, you kind of know what commodity is going to take what time to get offloaded or get loaded on your truck. You need to be paying attention to these things, because that is definitely going to affect your bottom line. And affect whether or not you're going to get loaded or reloaded the next day or whatnot. All right. So going back on here, we're going to show you guys some more stuff, some more lingo. Now, a lot of times you're going to see loads on here, right, that are posted with a dollar amount on here, right? So you can see 300 bucks. And this one's not posted for anything, okay? And that is just another tactic right there, okay? You see that lane is not posted for anything. That's just another tactic, folks. For how do you call that? Kenny Long talks about this, but this is just another tactic that you're gonna wind up calling that number and be like, okay, how much are you guys paying? You know, by you asking how much you guys are paying, you're giving the power of how much the load should pay to the broker. All right, by you asking, you know, by you giving your price before they even say anything, before you know you even ask, you know, a lot of times those loads that are not posted, they're gonna ask you, they're gonna ask you what is what do you need to do this load. All right, a lot of times those loads that don't have the number on them are the loads that pay shit. All right. Truth. And like that's just the truth. The brokers don't want to put that amount on there because you're gonna look at it real quick and it's gonna be like 200 miles paying $400. You're gonna be like, no, I'm not even gonna bother calling because the bar is set so low and I'm all the way up here, right? So that's the other thing with the negotiations, is that you have to understand where you sit at amongst like where the broker sits at and where the other trucks are sitting at, you know, because that's ultimately gonna get you the bargaining chip, you know. We have 14 people in here. Let's mash it up for a second. All right, mash up the like button or dislike button and drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think of the video. Good info. I didn't think about it that way. I generally try to book a load a few days at a time. Now, you know, it's not easy just booking a load the same day. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks for the driver, right? So if you own a fleet and you're gonna tell the driver, hey, look, if you're never pre-planning that driver is not gonna know how to manage his or her time, right? And he's not gonna know whether or not he should be driving up all night or whatnot. So yes, booking a load the same day or hours too, it does suck. I will say that, but you will get a lot of times you will get more money by doing that. But now here's a caveat to that, right? Remember I said 11 o'clock is a good time when you should be calling on a same day type load to grab a load. If you wait too long, folks, that will bite you in the butt. All right. And what I mean by that is that once it turns into like 2 p.m., 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, the brokers now know, right? The table's kind of reversed because now in the broker's mind, it says, okay, well, I didn't cover that load. Today, I'm not going to be able to get a truck. But if you're calling at 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. and trying to get a load, that shows the broker that you are desperate, right? Because you already got yourself into a situation where you got offloaded late, and because of that, you have no load. Shippers are starting to close, and now the load count starts going down, right? So in the morning, the load count started at 300, and so that and load count started at 300, and at the end of the day, it starts going down, like how I showed you guys. So that means now that you are kind of racing against the clock, and you have to think about it, right? Everybody else is doing this too. That people that got offloaded late are trying to book loads at the very last minute as well. So they're gonna know that. So then they're gonna start knocking the price down, you know, because the brokers are trying to make money as well, and they're gonna start knocking the price down because they know that you're desperate, right? So, that is just my 2 cents. One of the things about the load count is that one thing about the load count is that remember how I explained how there's people that book loads a day before, 2 days before, and there's people that book loads the same day. What happens with the load count is that 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning, that load count, it shoots up, right around 9:30 ish. It at 10 o'clock, that's when it's the low count. It's at its, I feel like, generally at its peak. But then, no, not it's at its peak, just regular. Sorry, regular. Once it hits 11, 12 o'clock, that's when people kind of start falling off the loads, and the load count goes up a little bit. It bumps up at its peak for the day. But then once it goes back to 2 p.m. or 1 p.m., 1:30, it starts plummeting, starts going down, because everybody already have gotten their load, like how I've been explaining. And so it goes down to the very end until the next day, and then brokers start worrying about posting the next day loads and whatnot, right? So let's see. There was somebody here that commented something. Do you think Cleveland to Atlanta and back is a good lane, boss? Kamel Pratt. Is that, oh, drive van. He said good drive van. I don't know. It's a common lane. That's a problem, right? So like, a lot of people are gonna tell you that there's no such thing as a backhaul, or there is you should be getting same rate per mile on every lane. But in reality, folks, the low board, how do I say this nicely, right? Because I use the load board almost a lot, quite a bit, right? The load board is not always the best place to get loads, okay? There's a caveat to that, right? So just when I'm saying there's a bad and there's a good, right? There's a con and a bad. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, it's a common lane, right? Big mega carriers have their own brokerage company, such as Prime, Sierra England, Warner, Landstar, all these places, right? They have the freight. They have the freight unlocked from all the different shippers and receivers and whatnot, right? The low board is a way for them to handle the surplus of loads and the loads that they don't really want. So the surplus, right? The surplus of loads that are on the load board because Warner or whoever, Landstar, couldn't handle, so many loads after they gave out their drivers. That's gonna go on the load board. That surplus can be a positive thing or it can be a negative thing, right? So if it could be a positive thing, because when there's too much freight and not enough trucks, the price to do the rate goes up, which is good. But when it is it could be a potential lane that, not saying the brokerage don't really care for, but they're just selling loads, right? Think about it. Think about the big picture here. Warner is paying their drivers, let's just say 50 cents a mile, right? And let's just say it takes Warner, I don't know, maybe $1 to operate their truck, right? And these are hypotheticals. It's just to get the mind thinking, right? So right now it takes Warner to operate $1.50 to run a load. So if the load was 300 miles, right? See, this is where I'm bad with math. Let's just say the load was $1.50, right? $1.50 a mile, and the load is paying $1 per mile. That means Warner is losing money by having one of their trucks run it. But in turn, when the market is bad, like right now, they can easily go on the load board and sell that load that they have, and instead of giving it to their driver, they can put it on the load board and make money off of it. How does that work? Well, if somebody's taking it for $1 a mile, they didn't have to lose money. In turn, they made money. It's a really kind of hard concept to grasp sometimes, but that's that's how the negative that's how that negative thing can work out on there. Okay. Second pickings, Chris Nunya, exactly. I'm listening while I'm driving. Left out. Hey Charles, stay safe, brother. Miles Watkins. It's like the second pickings, you know, but the second pickings can be very rewardful, or they can be complete shit, honestly. So that's the explanation to that. At least that's just my thoughts. You know, I've been doing this for a little bit of time, so I kind of know what's up. So now let's talk about some more stuff on here on the load board, okay? um let's see if we get this thing to focus. All right, so you see that little truck sign, like right there? It says F. Now you see the one right above says F, R, and V. What that means is that this load can go on a flatbed for F, or for R, it can go on a reefer, or for V, it can go on a van. So if it has FRV, that means it can go on literally any of those combinations. Now, this is what I like to talk about right here, right? On those particular loads right there, you always ask, you kind of play it off, you know, that you're a van, or a reefer, you know, because you can easily say, you know, hey, I can only haul 44,000 or something, or 43 or 40 or whatever, because of your type of equipment. You know, flatbed hauling the most, dry van, and then obviously reefer hauling possibly the less. You can always, right? You can always ask, can I get more if I hauled more, right? Because there are just some shippers that ship based off of weight, you know, and not so much by dimensions, but by weight. So on a load like that, I would instantly ask, hey, um, what's the weight? You know, what do you always want to ask what's the weight, but on a load like that, I like to ask what's the weight, because you can, a lot of times, they said it's, you know, 44,000. Oh, I have a flatbed, I could haul 48. You know, you guys gonna, can you pay $100 more, or $200 more, or whatever? Um, there are some loads that sometimes they actually say on the description, if you can haul 48,000, then we'll pay this. Or if you haul less than that, well, this is what we're gonna pay. So always keep in mind of a load such as that. Um, let's see what else, folks. Let's see what else I can talk about on here. Now, on here, you're gonna see the different brokerage. You see, it says Landstar Transportation. It says Tripping Out Logistics. All these different companies on here. TQL right there, Total Quality Logistics, and those are the name of the brokerage. So when you click on a load, let's just click on. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I could try to find a decent load for tomorrow, right? Which I don't think is gonna happen, folks. So let's go for tomorrow, which is the first. I'm gonna do a flatbed, and we're gonna do in Cleveland. We're gonna do a 120-mile radius out of Cleveland. These are air miles, right? So when you see that, you know, deadhead miles in there, that's air miles. That's not actually driven miles. So don't ever, right? Ever, it'll bite you in the ass. Trust me, because I've done it. Don't ever think that you're only just 46 miles away. Put that thing into Google Maps and get the actual driving miles, and you'll see the difference, because sometimes you'll think the calculations in your head, hey, I'm only 60 miles, it'll be about an hour and 10 minutes away. But no, you're actually going on some back roads. It's probably almost hour and 45 minutes, okay? So, we're gonna try to find a load. We're gonna see some loads on here. I'm gonna filter this. You can filter this by all these different things, you know, company name, days to pay, all that jive. But we're gonna do this by, what are we gonna do this by? By payment. So I want to see the money. All right. Let's filter this by the money, and let's see the top load. Right, we got showing 10 loads out of 346. The top load at the very top, it pays them, it's paying the most money, not profit, but the most money, gross is Pittsburgh to Portland, Oregon. All right. So right there we got 4,800 on how many air miles it says here. Jesus Christ, this thing's not focusing. Let's put that away. Get that away. Hide. None. All right. Now, oh, this thing went away. Give me a second. Let's see, the sun's going down and it's messing with this thing. All right. So 4,800 on how many miles? 2,572. Okay. Um. So obviously that is not even $2 a mile. Okay. On these long runs, you ain't gonna find $2. You ain't gonna find typically on the low board at this on this date, which is the 2019 October, Halloween. You're not gonna find like some really good stuff that goes along. It changes up, okay? But let's just click on it, okay? And it says FSD, and we clicked on it, and it's gonna show us all our little things. It's gonna show us the miles. It's gonna show us the dollar amount, and it's gonna show us this little thing right here is what they like to call a fuel surcharge or whatever. Take it as a grain of salt. See, a lot of people ask about fuel surcharge when you are operating off the load board. Like people that have kind of been on the mega carrier side and went off. In the low board, there's no really such thing as a fuel surcharge. Okay, honestly, there really isn't. Okay, it's what do you need to do this lane, right? And you have to know your numbers, right? By doing it so long, you should know how much fuel is gonna take you to get there. Um, that's not to say when the fuel prices go up, the rates don't go up. They do go up, but don't honestly when you're first starting off, don't even bother trying to understand the fuel surcharge because you'll lose your mind over it, honestly. So going back on this, I gotta switch the timer on this thing because it keeps timing out. But anyways, it says right here what we have here. This is the description right here. Steel building, full legal load. Call this girl 213. All right. So there's a little button on here. Boom, you hit call. You speaking to the broker and you ask all the details, and then you give them your MC number and you book your load and you're off to the races. It's as simple as that. All right. I need to see these chats. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. So if there is anything else, folks, for the most part, I feel like I covered a good gist of it. You can see the weight right there. A lot of times there, the weight doesn't always get doesn't always get posted, but it does. And let's see, some loads. I want to see if you got any questions. Right now is the time to ask. I'm gonna be wrapping this up pretty soon. And other than that, let's see. I'm just trying to see if I can find something worth mentioning, but I can't find anything, to be honest. All right. So a typical load that I would run, honestly, would be this load right here, which is Ambridge, PA to what is this place, man? Ambridge, PA to Cumberland, Rhode Island, right? That one is paying $17.50 right there. 568. Now I wouldn't be taking that $17.50. Like I said, never just take that rate. I would be up a little bit more higher, and like I said, don't ever just take the rate. Always want to ask for more. And yeah, let's see. So it seems like we got Miles walking in the house. What's up, brother? And I don't see anything that I like. Can you live off the load board? Yes, you can. But I highly suggest getting a direct shipper or two, because the the low board fluctuates, and when you get a direct shipper and you can lock in a set rate, you don't have to worry about like how much money you're going to be bringing in this week, or like not so much, but you don't have to worry about the fluctuation so much doing the low board. Now, hopefully, we have that one ruling coming up here in December where everybody who has been on ARBD had to finally switch over to the ELDs, and hopefully that's going to affect the capacity in a way that there's going to be less trucks available. So hopefully the rates do go up some more. Honestly, I don't see the rates really shooting up that much. I don't even think they're going to be shooting up. I think they might get a little bump, but hopefully we have harsh winter, and for those that like to run in the snow, we'll be getting to make some more money. Miles Watkins, you back to running on your own? Nope, not right now. I'm still company right now. All right, and I am just working at it. All right, saving up that cash to get the truck. So let's see. Any final questions? Otherwise, there's 11 people in here. I don't know if you guys came in at the end. Mash it up for me, like or dislike, and drop a comment down below at the end of the video. Let us know what you think, and if there's anything in particular that you would like to see me cover. Besides that, what I want to do is I'm gonna be recording one of my calls. I'm gonna be calling a direct shipper, and this is a complete cold call, right? There's such thing as a cold call. Cold call when you like maybe haven't been to this place, or you just don't know the person, and you're gonna give them a call and say, hey, I have a flatbed, I've been XYZ numbers and years in business, or I haul a lot of freight from here, all that, and we're gonna show you phone by phone conversation on how I usually handle a phone thing like that. Whether it goes good or whether it goes bad, I'm still gonna upload it, right? So you will get shut down, right? There's gonna be some companies that don't want to deal with owner ops, or one or two, three truck carrier. They want to deal with people with 50 plus trucks because that's the volume. So it just all depends. Sometimes they got a really good brokerage and they've been helping them out pretty good, and they don't want to step on their toes, and they want, hey, I would appreciate if you gave this broker, I go through him for all my truck needs. Sometimes it's like that, folks. But anyways, we've been on here for a little record for 43 minutes. So let's go ahead and cut this out. At the end of the day, folks, the choice is simple. You get busy living or you get busy dying. It's your boy Hamlet. Happy Halloween. Deuces.